FirstComm. So, we've been around, we're a proven partner, been in business for 25 years, servicing over 7,000 customers around the United States. And we're always evolving to provide technical solutions and support for customers' needs. We are experts that you can count on, right? I look at us as a family here at First Communications. Our average tenure has been 10 years, which is great. We really enjoy doing what we do here, and we'd like to extend that type of enthusiasm with supporting our customers. Service that never sleeps. This is interesting because, where businesses typically are looking to outsource their service, customer service, and the whole race for AI as their first line of customer interaction. We're focused and we'll continue to focus on that human interaction, right? I think that's always key, at least for me, as well as within our mindset here in the organization. Our 24/7 support, it's located here in the United States. We have dual NOC operation centers in both Akron, Ohio, and in Chicago, Illinois. Next slide. Our product offering. So, as I mentioned before, we're always evolving, providing the best solutions and support our customers and business partners need, right? Our current product lineup kind of covers a wide variety of solutions to help transition customers from legacy technology. So, and with that, we added FusionOne to our lineup. Great. Next slide, please. And the next. So, what is FusionOne? FusionOne is just a name that we decided to throw together, but most importantly, what it does and what really is in behind it, right? Our partnership with Peplink and with AT&T and Verizon, primarily with AT&T, which we'll cover here in a bit. But the biggest thing is that we're able to offer a business continuity SD-WAN solution where we're bundling in the product with an unlimited 4 or 5G plan, depending on where the customer validates their address. And again, this is a truly unlimited a plan. There's no data caps or anything like that. So we're basically taking the best portion of a SD-WAN solution and bringing that extra network connection that some customers may not have. Unbreakable connectivity, simplified management, and of course, for a flat rate of $140, right? The SD-WAN solution behind it on this particular product set, we're able to sit there and not just look at hard up and hard down on the primary internet connection. We'll go with this in a bit, but primarily it really looks for latency, degradation, packet loss, and things like that. So you're able to navigate the traffic before the service starts to be interrupted. We're also able to provide a static IP address for the product set. This is kind of important because we can leverage our own private network within First Communications and use our IPs for those customers that need those. All this stuff, of course, is reliable in our data centers. We have 2 private gateways that the product can relay out to, where we provide the IP and the SD-WAN infrastructure back to those locations. Simplified management. So one of the biggest things, of course, was getting a product that could be delivered pretty much any place without having a manual intervention of First Communications technology support installation person out there. So what we liked about it is that we're able to pre-configure these devices at our locations, work with the customer, and have those devices shipped out. And then basically it's plug and play from there. We have a call with the customer to work with them, provide any kind of technical support right there on that turn and activation call. And of course, the long-term aspect of it would be the 24/7 monitoring I mentioned before. Next slide. So who benefits from this FusionOne product, right? I can go down the list of who actually would need something like this. One thing that really resonates with me is not just the size of the organization, because it's not one size fits all, but it's really that single ISP connection. And I think when I say that is because we talk about an SD-WAN solution, typically you are going to need a secondary connection for any SD-WAN product to really shine. And I think that's where we look at from network costs, as organizations start to trim down network costs and things they can save money on. And IT is always looking to do what they can do to save money. We know that bringing the secondary connection sometimes, whether it be fiber, coax, or whatever else, could be very expensive. And sometimes there may not be a other competitive partner out there from an ISP standpoint to provide that secondary connection. So that's one of the biggest things this product really does solve. We are bringing in that dedicated fixed wireless backup, completely unlimited, with no data caps on those. Another benefit that those organizations that would need something like this is, nowadays a lot of business have transitioned to a fully cloud-based solution. So think about billing systems that you may be accessing, your day-to-day cloud stuff, Office 365, things like that. Those pieces are crucial for day-to-day workforce activity. And so when you lose internet, you lose access to these things. And this, of course, fixes that. And of course, always those organizations that need critical uptime. Again, any business, in my personal opinion, to be successful, you have to have, back in the day, it was strictly just having power. And now it's a little more than that, right? You have to have internet for your business. I mean, most households, even mine, can barely run without having internet access at home. So next slide. So what are some of the challenges, right? And some of the stuff I'll go back and say this again, but you'll hear these keywords that we'll talk about. But and what I mean by zero downtime is crucial, especially if you're in an industry where you need to access something, working with a customer that needs information, working with a partner that needs information, and all this data that you're accessing is in the cloud, and you have no internet access. You're basically sitting there and not able to do anything, right? So this is a key piece because we're able to provide, again, we're bringing in that secondary 5G connection. And by some companies, they may have an extra connection. You might have a WAN and WAN 2 ISPs. By all means, this product works well with those as well. You can have multiple WAN ISPs. We're still going to bring that 5G connection overlay with this particular product set. It also provides a simple deployment, as I mentioned before, but the management, like we talked about, like an IT staffing component. When you're focusing strictly on IT related stuff, you have priorities and you're shifting, and last thing you really want to worry about is calling up the upstream carrier, spending hours opening a ticket, waiting for the service to be restored. With something like this is an all enhanced encompassed product set. We get notifications. It's fully managed by First Communications. So that's always a key important as well. Think about this. Not only do we give you access to the reporting and aspects of this, but no matter what, we're a managed service provider, right? We're here to manage these services no matter what. And I think that's always going to be key. Our operation team will know when your main internet connections goes down, right? We're able to get the notifications, as well as you. We can set this up during our preliminary works with you as an organization to get this product working. And that's one of the key things we'll find out. Like if you want to be a part of the notifications, if you want to have access to the portal. So, and as I mentioned before, the SD-WAN piece. Now, a lot of people will say, hey, you have a product set that's very similar, and I get it. Like there are competitors out there that will have a backup solution and a failover solution. And the biggest thing I'm telling you right now is outside of the pricing that we're able to do this in is that unlimited plan, right? It is unfiltered. This is not a shared pooled plan. There's no overages on it. And the SD-WAN technology it's really good. It is not a simple failover looking at the main primary internet connection, because by that time you wait, you're down. Where this is actually looking, there's been cases, especially now in this day and age, you don't really have so much where the primary internet connection goes down. It's actually worse. There'll be upstream DNS issues where you're basically, you're throttled, your internet looks like it's working fine, but you can't resolve out to anything. This product really resolves that, right? You're not waiting for something to go down. You're not waiting. It will immediately start to see the jitter, the latency, and things like that, and then transition your traffic over. And the same thing with your voice calls. So I always look at this as voice calls will stay up, regardless if you're using a voice over IP solution through First Communications, through a third party of your choosing, as well as the physical premise-based PBXs, right? The uptime and the voice audio will stay connected no matter what. Next slide. So some of the key features, of course, this is a fully managed service. Not only do you have access if you wanted to, if not, we fully manage this. We help you get it set up, fully deployed. monitoring, reporting, ticketing, all that stuff. Technical questions, right? Configuration changes, things like that. So we're a fully managed service providing that service. The SD-WAN resiliency, again, it's not typical just automatic failover, right? It does cover the key components of any type of true SD-WAN product. We're looking at software-defined latency, packet loss, and things like that. And that kind of coincides with the intelligent failover. Static IP support, again, we do as a special request, and we can offer additional or static IPs. That's primarily for businesses that may have a premise-based PBX and needs a static IP to be able to do that. We can provide that, as well as businesses that have a specific or static solution for their firewall, right? We can assign a static IP for that firewall, regardless if the upstream carriers do not have a static firewall provided. And especially when you think about this, when you're looking at a mobile service, those IPs change. They could change 5 minutes. They could change every hour. So again, business critical needs from specific devices, we can assign those static IPs. The simplicity of the installation, as I mentioned before, again, the mindset of this product for us to be able to roll this out was almost a plug and play solution, right? You shouldn't have to ask for tons of different configurations, LAN-wise and things like that. This is a true SD-WAN plug and play product set. I'll touch base again. Unlimited data. I can't even stress about that, because there, for those individuals that had a failover solution in the past or understand this, when you're paying for that plan, you get XYZ allotted for the data plan. But once you hit that cap in a true failover scenario and you got a pretty decent sized business, all that traffic gets carried over to that shared pooled plan, and you can burn through that pretty quick, and then you're stuck with heavy overages. Again, this is unlimited. Reporting and monitoring, we'll cover this in a quick demo I will show you towards the end of what, the little capabilities that we have and you have to log in and look at certain things. But I think it's key and crucial, importantly, to understand these reporting and monitoring tools, because of that coincides with the portal access, having the ability to understand, did this go down at a specific time, right? You can see that. You can look at your actual upstream degradation, if anything, the decibels, like more the technical stuff when it comes to the fixed wireless solution. Yeah, we'll cover that in a minute. Next slide. Pricing. So again, I think for $140 a month, this is a great offering, right? Taking outside of what the piece of hardware actually does from an SD-WAN solution, it's all inclusive, as well as the 24/7 support we're able to provide here in the United States, and that unlimited fixed wireless plan. Next slide. So I'm going to talk about the two other partners that are on this call to help us, put this product together, right? And before I hand it over to AT&T, I do want to talk about one of the main reasons why. Again, we can partner with multiple plans. We are a partner with Verizon as well. But what I really like about AT&T is their footprint, right? I think they have, and Paul will go over here in a second, but they have just a great, AT&T's been around basically, if not one of the oldest probably telecommunications company out there. They have a footprint and a stronghold on the United States. So I think that helps us out. And one thing I do like about AT&T too is with their plans, those customers that are technically not fully in a so-called 5G coverage plan, they're able to provide their 4G LTE solution at an unlimited plan as well. And those unlimited plans on that 4G technology could range, but even here at my house, I'm currently running their 4G plan through this product set that's truly unlimited. And my speeds right now probably average between 160 to 170 down and 10 to 15 up. It really just depends. So, and Paul will kind of cover this. But again, this is one of the main reasons why, we partner with AT&T is primarily that footprint and those areas that need to be covered that are not considered 5G. So those are the biggest things. And of course, they're known for their reliable, high-speed connectivity everywhere. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Paul.
Okay, Chris, thank you. Can you all hear me? Okay. So, yeah, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. And, I want to thank the FirstComm team as well. We've been working together kind of on this launch for 3+ years, right? So to get us to this point, FirstComm's been a great partner, and we're excited about what they've been able to bring to the market. So just to piggyback, you can see the screen in front of you. Our wireless coverage, whether that be 4G, 5G, 5G plus, we've got the majority of the country covered, right? So that's what really helps from a fixed wireless perspective, because if you've read anything recently, the fixed wireless business is just up and to the right. The growth that we expect to see as an organization over the next 3 to 4 years, it's very significant. So being able to offer a product set and offer rate plans that are going to cover companies where they're located is crucial for us. Katie, if you could go to the next slide. And so Chris kind of hit on this, but these are some theoretical speeds based off of whether you're in a 5G plus service area, 5G, 4G LTE, and so this is important as you all look at the FusionOne product, right? To know that because there's a qualification aspect to it, right? So that we can partner with FirstComm and know that, hey, our rate plans, here are the speeds that you should expect. So I think it's important to kind of show some of this, show some of the latency, potential upload, download speeds. And again, just knowing that FirstComm's product is taking that into consideration with their partnership on the equipment side as well. Next slide. So when we first launched these rate plans, as you can see, we had a small amount of buildings, right? And in just over a year's time, actually less than a year, we have doubled. And these statistics are just, we're increasing month over month the number of locations that qualify for this product. And one of our challenges launching it was around people that work from home that are businesses, but they don't have a traditional office, right? So we're doing a lot of research, a lot of testing to be able to provide more and more connectivity throughout the U.S. for this product, and being able to partner with FirstComm that can give us real-world feedback as to, hey, did you realize that there's 5 businesses in this community, and a couple of them are work from home, a couple of them are traditional. All of that data that they're able to provide us just helps us as we continue to grow the BCLs that are out there and the ability to service the customer. Next slide. So I like this slide because it really breaks it down into kind of 3 different categories, right? So the first one, this is going to give you the ability to offer an internet option when maybe AT&T fiber is not available, maybe cable's not available. It's going to give you another option for connectivity. And Chris kind of hit on this as well. We're all in this migration phase of how do we remove all the copper and some of the legacy services that are out there and still be able to provide better connectivity, better speeds than what some customers have had for quite a long time. So this is a great replacement for traditional DSL, traditional copper services. When cable's not available as well. And then the third one is just, specifically with the FusionOne product and just a secondary connection, right? Whether that is for a WAN 1 or a WAN 2 in an SD-WAN scenario, you've got that ability just into the equipment that we're going to talk about here in just a couple of minutes. Is that the last slide, Katie?
Yes.
Okay. So, and again, look forward to the Q&A session as well. But, our partnership with FirstComm and Peplink, I've known the Peplink team for several years as well. So I applaud FirstComm with their putting this product together, and we're excited about the launch and just, want to help in any way possible. Chris, I appreciate the partnership, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, as Paul mentioned, the other partnership side of this is our partnership with Peplink. And I think, me looking around for quite a bit of some time, there's so many SD-WAN solution partners that are out there. A lot of them are just basically, which we have existing partnerships with other providers that we're able to resell within First Communications and offer as a solution. However, this one's allowing us more to combine a secondary connection with a legitimate SD-WAN product set at a really great price. And one of the biggest things why I really like Peplink and chose them was outside of their certification process, because they are very, very keen on getting certifications available for all their modems, for all the different type of partners, right? We're here with AT&T, but again, I mean, Peplink typically has and stayed on point of getting a lot of their devices certified with all those different modems and the different type of providers that are out there. My primary reason outside of this, though, was looking at it from a competitive standpoint, is that even for First Communications, when we're looking at SD-WAN solutions, there's typically a piece of hardware that you purchase, and of course, there's going to be a monthly recurring charge on what they so-called their SD-WAN bucket. With this, there is no SD-WAN bucket, right? We're not going to sit there and charge and ask for 10 megs of $40 or 100 megs of $500 or a gig. Like, this is basically an open connection of those that need to route traffic back from your location to our core network where our so-called gateways reside from. So that was one of the key pieces I wanted to find out. And when I was on my search on my partnership with Peplink and what led me towards this product was just that piece of the technology. Another thing that I really like about it is that from an engineering standpoint, it is an engineering product designed by engineers for engineers, right? But what does that mean for us? Well, since we're a managed service provider, we're able to take that engineering solution and provide that to our customer base as a full support aspect, right? Where you're not relying on high tech talk, engineering design, and deployment. You have First Communications here. And of course, with our direct partnership with Peplink, we can go right to the source for any type of other support. So with that, I'm going to turn that over to Monroe to talk a little bit about Peplink.
Thanks, Chris. So as Chris mentioned, we were just as excited to bring in FirstComm as one of our resellers, and it's great to work with Chris because he's so knowledgeable and he knows what he wants and he knows exactly kind of like our landscape. So one of the benefits, one of the many benefits of working with Peplink is we really firmly believe in the whole failover between wired, wireless, and cellular connections, and we take a lot of pride in that because whether it be mission critical services for EMS or a worker at a home office, it's we have to stay connected in today's world. So, and on top of that, just to piggyback off that, the management system in our InControl 2 cloud is very, very robust, but yet it's incredibly simple to use and to manage. And it's just something that we felt, this could be really, really complicated and it gets into the weeds, but we wanted to make sure that any user really, once they just understood the basics, they could operate it as well. But and kind of going off of that as well, again, is that the total cost of ownership of Peplink is significantly cheaper than most of our competition. And we use some of the highest available grade components you could imagine, and some might not even have heard yet. but yet we still are able to offer it at a very, very cost-effective price because we know businesses need discounts too, so to speak, right? So with that, there's the licensing aspect of it, and when you have to go into a dependent type of like server mode, well, there's things that we could offer in those solutions as well instead of going to like the notes say an expensive circuit. The scalable for any business size, we really, really take to heart because we started small just like anyone else, and we've grown with some of our biggest accounts were one-man shows 10 years ago, and now they are, doing $20-30 million a year in Peplink because we've been able to support them from start to finish, so to speak. And they're not even done yet. So whether you have a small office or an enterprise full of, multiple networks, we can support you there, in multiple solutions. And in the field, we are proven, across multiple industries from public safety to healthcare to the education vertical, which is one of our largest, retail stores, manufacturing. We are working on a deal with a very, very large United States-based manufacturer that I'm sure everyone on the call would know, but because of NDA, I can't exactly explain. But it is a very large, manufacturer that said, of all of our choices, we want to go with Peplink as well. So that's just some of the few benefits that we cover and why we are able to partner with some of our customers with great prices and great service, and we will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. Chris, I think we're back to you.
Yeah, no, thanks, Monroe.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting regarding like the Peplink footprint when you had mentioned before, but just the U.S. government alone, we're talking military, right? I was very not surprised, not shocked, but I just thought it was interesting that the entire the Navy down there in San Diego is going to be utilizing all your guys' product sets, more of a private network. So I guess if it's good enough for the Navy, it's good enough for everybody else, right?
Well, and to quickly piggyback off of that, the Navy had they had a call with some of the other branches of the military the other day, and now the other branches have been reaching out because they're like, wait a second, we can't just let the Navy have that. Now we have to have that. So it's quite powered by the new United States military coming to you soon, powered by Peplink.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, but thanks for that though. So we discussed about the capabilities and things like that. And again, as I mentioned before, this is a fully managed solution that we're offering. However, one thing I did like about it is we're able to provide at least a glimpse and some visibility for what you're actually paying for. And again, it's like anything else that we offer at First Communications. Out of sight, out of mind for your perspective. If you want to sit there and just pay for the service and just trust us and know that it's going to work, we have that capability. But we also offer one thing which I always get is that, hey, I really do appreciate your guys' services and being able to monitor and do all this great stuff for us. But sometimes I like to go in. I mean, I could be on vacation and I get I'm on call and I get a call from my organization and they're having issues. So having the ability to access a portal, I think, is great, and seeing what you can actually do in there. So with that, I will just give you kind of a quick little overview of some of the features and capabilities and reporting aspects of this product set. So by default, when you get in, you have an organizational view of this, right? And typically, if you have multiple devices in multiple locations, you will be able to see those devices popped up and registered in here. But what I like about it, you get a map, kind of where the device is at. And from the first initial log on, you have all the different type of event logs that go in here, right? And typically, the most important event logs, of course, would be connections and issues that may occur. And right here, you can see, the visibility standpoint, First Communications employees can come in here. We typically will go in here just to access to make sure if there is an outage or any type of things that we're doing, you will see that we do have access and we will go in there to, assist on anything. But, up, down time on the specific network components that are in here. And of course, the reports. I think the reports are kind of key important. You have then this initial dashboard of what devices are typically online, the internet availability, and of course, device availability. And so with the reports that we're able to kind of dive deep, we can look at some how many devices, the MAC addresses, the utilizations, how much bandwidth they consume. This box actually does that we're providing. If you want, you can enable it. It does have built-in Wi-Fi 6, and all that Wi-Fi capability and network settings can be accessed through the portal itself. If you want to set up that private or guest networks through the portal. And typically, when we onboard this product, we're actually talking to you ahead of time. We're pre-configuring this stuff before we ship it out. So by the time you get it, it is really ready to go. But you do have access to kind of go in here. With that, another key feature that, again, I like about having the accessibility to this is looking at your particular connections, right? Obviously, we can look at the IPs that are currently active and available, what's connected. In this case, I don't have a secondary internet connection. So right now I'm running my cellular service, my 5G, or my, sorry, in this case is 4G LTE in a standby service. However, the beauty of the SD-WAN product that we're able to do, regardless if this is in a standby situation, I can still route our so-called IP traffic, right? If you have a specific gateway for voice or anything else, we can add that to our Fusion hub, which I mentioned before, that goes back into our data center. And what that does is that basically takes the piece of an application layer, in this case, voice, and will route over both the primary and that secondary, in this case, the cellular connection. So if, let's say, your primary connection does go down, the voice call is still up. It's still initiated. It's not dropping and you hanging up and then calling back up again. It's a fully active call. Outside of that, of course, details from a quick glance view, and of course, you can access this portal remotely from anywhere. But in the cellular services, obviously, you can easily Google search about what's good and what's bad on the signal strength, right? You'll see decibels, RSQ, RQ, all this other fun stuff. So that's here, just for your own personal knowledge. And then, of course, another thing that we enabled on this product, which I thought was great, is this connection test. So here you can actually do a speed test and get those results remotely from anywhere under the specific layer that you're trying to access. So if I wanted to basically check the speeds of my cellular service, I can do that through that, as well as that primary internet connection through that LAN side of the house. And typically how those looks, you can come back here and look at your reports. So we can look at my connection tests that I've ran. And I actually have this scheduled. So keep in mind, again, as we're working with you to onboard the service, we ask these types of questions. Hey, would you like reports? How often would you want them? Daily, weekly, monthly? We can generate these on a report aspect, so you get these done via email. In this case, you would see this report ran specifically. I have these all set to run every night at midnight. So I can now look at this one particularly here is going to be the performance test off of the cellular service. So this would be through AT&T. I can look at that. And there's parameters and thresholds, by the way. You'll notice on the uploads and downloads, again, we typically set these things for an upload speed of 1.5. So anything that hits below that, we can trigger a so-called failure test. That way, you're like, okay, the performance isn't that great on the upload speed if it goes under a specific threshold. Same thing with the downloads, right? We have it triggered to sit there and say that, hey, anything under 25 megs, send out an alert, right? So again, this is focusing on the speed test, which ran by itself at midnight, my time, and pulled this particular report. And the same thing up here, I just changed this if I want to look at the primary connection. So in this case, I'm utilizing Spectrum as my primary internet connection. And you can actually see the speeds that come through, right? You have right here, uploads are 10.8, and then of course the download speeds were 320.6, right? So, and this will stay over in the history side of the house. You can always go back and access. So outside of the speed test, the other thing I really like about it, of course, is the device report. So this will basically show any devices that are connected to this particular product set. So in this case, I'm not utilizing its Wi-Fi. I actually have a mesh network. So in this case, it's a little a Deco device. So within that, all my Wi-Fi connections connect to that. So I can't see the visibility behind that because this Deco device is actually plugged into my B1 LAN side. However, if we were to, let's say, enable the Wi-Fi 6 capability and utilize Peplink's version of it, then you would see all the sub-devices, cell phones, things that would be connected to that Wi-Fi network. But what I do like about it, though, of course, is that outside the devices, you can actually see the utilization. And this is typically run on a daily report, right? So this is the last 7 days. But my reports, I can have generate here. So right now, I got a daily device report that kind of comes in, and this is what it looks like via email. So, and by all means, you do not have to have access to this stuff. We keep this for ourselves for First Communications because as a managed service, we want to make sure that services are running well, right? But for your own personal knowledge, again, I like the fact that you can see reporting from a device, how many are connected. Outside of that, what type of utilization are these things using, right? Obviously, you can see this one is my home network where my kids love to stream Netflix and Disney Plus. So that's 47 gigs for yesterday. But outside of that, we also have your daily usage report, right? So this is overall bandwidth consumption outside of the devices report where you're able to see specific analytics on the devices. So these are nice reports. And of course, there's also a email alert outage report. So you will get notifications if your primary internet connection goes down. First Communications gets those email notifications as well. We trigger, once that happens, it triggers if it's a service that we're offering through our network and your primary connection, your fiber, coax, or you're getting through First Communications. We manage and maintain that where we're open the ticket. So if that's the case and that outage does occur, we're always going to be proactive in our operations center, opening those tickets and working with the upstream carrier on those, right? On those situations where you already have your own partner ISP that is not through First Communications and your primary internet connection were to go down, well, you will get an alert. We can trigger that alert to go to you to where you can then take action and work with your upstream carrier for that primary source. But the secondary, the great thing about the product, of course, is we're including the 5G unlimited plan or the 4G LTE unlimited plan. So the traffic itself will then be catered and pushed over to that secondary connection while you're working with your primary ISP or First Communications is working upstream on a potential fiber cut or whatever else that could be affected. These are kind of the main things on it. We typically give customers read access. We'll do all the configurations. I think some people at some point might ask questions, does it have a firewall and things like that? It does have its own stateful firewall. You can do parameter settings and blocking and things of natures of applications and specific sites. So you do have that layer of security on there. But again, it is considered a stateful firewall. For anything that you're looking for, advanced policy feature sets and things like that, typically customers might have their own third-party product, Sonic Wall, or things that they have. And yes, we can fully support those by all means of setting these up in a pass-through mode and providing you a static IP and let your firewall doing all the work from those type of policies. So that's the beauty of the product if we're able to provide our static IP solution. But outside of that, I would say that majority of the product sets and things that customers need is really just the active, consistent connectivity and that business continuity, which is going to be important. Applications, your day-to-day applications, especially nowadays when everything's considered online devices and things like that, in the cloud, the solution itself it's always there, right? The connectivity will always be there to provide you access to all those key cloud feature sets or applications that you're trying to access, and as well as the voice piece, right? That's a key component as well. So again, you think about this in a solution where you have a PBX on-site, on-prem, or you have your own, either through First Communications or another third-party hosted PBX out there on-site, and you only have one internet connection, and of course that goes down. Well, you're basically waiting for the internet to come back, where you can process calls, or you're using your cell phone, right? In this particular case, we deploy this product. You're mission critical outside of your applications of your cloud that you need. Your voice calls are there, right? You literally have all your calls are able to make, receive. It's in situations if we set this up the way that you would like, meaning that the SIP traffic will stay connected. You wouldn't even know that it's down, right? Other than maybe your latency, your speeds may vary. But outside of that, though, that's the whole point of us providing this product out there is that zero downtime is what we're looking for. So with that, I'm going ahead and close the demo out. And I'm going to go ahead and kick this back over to you, Katie.
We are now going to move into the Q&A portion of today's webinar. Before we get started, I just wanted to thank our panel, Chris, Beau, Monroe, and Paul, for sharing all of your insights on FusionOne. So with that, we will go ahead and jump into some of the questions that we've received during the conversation. That will also give everyone a few moments. If you have additional questions you'd like to drop in that Q&A function, we'll go ahead and answer those questions as they come in as well. All right, so the first one that I have here is probably going to be for you, Chris. We have a current FirstComm customer with a voice zip line and an internet connection for data. Can FusionOne provide backup for both of those services together?
Yeah, great question. I think it's interesting. I think I might have covered a little bit right before I turned it over, but the SD-WAN solution covers the voice aspect through us, as well as if you have someone else, but it's all voice IP related. We're able to handle that in the SD-WAN solution side of the house, as well as backup the primary internet connection. So, if the primary internet connection goes down, the voice application is still up because the SD-WAN is now kicked over to the secondary connection. So it's a win-win, right? So yes, it basically covers both backup solution for that one solution for communications.
Perfect. Thanks so much. We do have another question here. Sounds like for the Peplink team. So this attendee has a lot of steel buildings that they work with. What sort of antennas or antenna lengths can they work with for those types of buildings, or would you recommend a different device altogether?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I put some baseline information in there, but when we're looking at cable, it depends on the cable type. And then you have, like for example, AT&T has different frequencies that they broadcast 5G on, and the lower frequencies will propagate through a coaxial cable better than the higher frequencies. So you have frequencies that are lower that are kind of anchored, but they're not the fast ones. And then you have these upper level frequencies that really give the speed of the network. So the higher level frequencies just don't pass through coaxial cable as well. So depending on your cable type, you can run anywhere from 30 feet, 40 feet on something like LMR 200, maybe up to 100 feet on LMR 400. And then there's larger cable types out there. And that's where I think, looking at the use case, get into, maybe asking the FirstComm team about other options, other product offering options. This is very focused on FusionOne, but there are other products on the market where the antenna, the enclosure, it all goes outside the building. It's a single Ethernet run back in, which then you can go much further. So that may be better for an environment like that. But with respect to the FusionOne product specifically, those two cable types are very commonly used, and those are kind of the run lengths or distance limitations of those.
Great, thanks so much, Beau.
You're welcome.
Another question here that may be between both you and Chris, but how granular can we get with traffic prioritization or traffic shaping based on the application type, or is it more of a failover product?
It's a good question. Again, from the SD-WAN solution, I think if you're looking for a detailed traffic shaping on specifics, this is all based off of application layer. We can actually get granular on specific IPs. If you say, hey, I have a specific voice server that we're trying to hit. But as far as I would say is doing maybe load balancing or traffic shaping from a policy level, no, it's like I said, it's really looking at the upstream WAN side of the house, and it's checking for latency, jitter, the packet loss, of course, and the physical disconnect before it starts to move traffic over. Now, what you can do is specify what traffic you do want to move over, or maybe use what we call, and I mentioned before, with our gateways that we deployed that go back to both data centers, right? So if there's specific things that we want to leverage, then yes, we can route based off of application on those, but not specific types of like policies down to that traffic shaping that you would do typically in some of these like Juniper devices and things like that, or maybe I think Cisco as well.
Great, thanks so much, Chris. Another question just came in here. Does the 5G backup come with hardware, 5G gateway? I see the reception is not good in the building, and external antenna is also provided.
Yeah, good question. So the B1 product that we're deploying, which is the Peplink called product, and our FusionOne product is what we are labeling it, has the B1 device, which has a built-in modem inside of the hardware with the SIM and the plan embedded into that. But yes, I get what you're saying. Two ways to do this. The device really isn't that big. I've seen it's you can either go two ways about this. You can mount the device away from the shielded data center that you may have or your closet and run your cable back to the network side of the house. Or I think Beau touched a little bit on it. We are probably in about a couple of weeks, we're looking at some of their external, we call the external antennas, maybe to help out some of the those solutions. And these are typical antennas that could be mounted outside through other applications close to a window, and you're just now extending the cabling, as Beau had mentioned, to and replacing the little bunny ears that are on it. But it really just depends. I've actually seen, again, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I mean, when we're testing out products, and we typically go through the gambit of all the different competitors that are out there, and just even looking at like native. I mean, AT&T's on the call, but they do have a native box they partnered with. They ship out the same box. Verizon does the same thing. You ship out the customers, right? It's a so-called air box. But this is way superior, right? And the reason I'm saying is because we've tested both out. The visibility that we have alone into the devices we're able to troubleshoot is key. But I do like the fact that within Peplink, they have such other great antenna products that are in here. There's too many products that are out there that are just focused on that particular use case. And then come to find out, if you're looking to extend, or if you're in a very tight pinch of your data center, or at least where maybe your cabinets and things are kind of shielding, especially in some places downtown where there's brick buildings and things like center blocks, you want to be able to extend those. And I think Peplink, they offer great add-on devices that they created themselves, an antenna to extend that reception that you're going to need.
I think we have time for one more question. This one just came in. Would this integrate with an existing FirstComm hosted SD-WAN connection if we add a new location or even need a backup for an existing location?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't really think about that. I think I would say.
It is a good question.
Well, I know, right? I was like, I think I will take this back to a testing phase, but I'm going to be pretty sure that we should be able to. And the reason I'm going to say that is because both solutions route back to our core data center. We're able to provide the same IP scheme through both products, and I think we can make those interact and mesh together. The only differences, of course, would be the access layer of it is that one is through a different portal, right? Or I know what we're probably referring to is our Velo Cloud product, it was now owned by Arista, I guess now, right? But it's the orchestrator, and so like that's an SD-WAN solution that we do offer. But you would access the In Control 2, which I did my demo over to look at that. But I don't see why we couldn't. But that's a good question, and then we'll take your information and get back to you. But I'm pretty sure we would be able to do that.
Great. Thank you so much. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about FusionOne or are ready to get started, you can go ahead and reach out directly to your account manager or visit firstcomm.com/FusionOne. Just complete the contact form there and a member of our team will be in touch with you. Thanks again. We look forward to connecting with you soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.